Let's take a walk through today's biggest update. Delivery dates for the brand new $2,000 tariff rebate check, specifically focused on those living on Social Security, SSDI, SSI, VA, RRB, and low income. I have all the latest details about what's going on, who qualifies, and when you might actually see money hitting your bank account. So let's get right into it. Now, I know one of the most common questions I've been seeing lately down below in the comments section is simple. When are these $2,000 checks going out? People are asking, when will they be delivered? When will we see them? And honestly, these are all great questions. Because as we all know, every single month it feels like there's a new promise, a new announcement, or a new bill being discussed in Congress. And that can make it really hard to figure out what's real and what's just political noise. That's exactly why I'm breaking this all down for you today. Before we dive in, if you're new here, welcome. I'm your daily advocate. I watch everything happening in Washington, the White House, the Treasury, and the Social Security Administration every single day, breaking it down into short, easy-to-understand updates so you can know what's really going on. Things are changing fast, faster than ever, and staying updated is the only way to make sure you don't miss money or benefits that might actually be available to you. So please, make sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss future updates. Now let's get into the details on the $2,000 tariff rebate check and what it means for seniors, disabled individuals, and low-income households. First off, I want to make this very clear so we're all on the same page. As of right now, this $2,000 tariff rebate check has not been officially approved by Congress. I know that might be disappointing to hear, but it's important to be clear and transparent. There are a lot of videos and articles floating around online claiming that checks are already being mailed, but that is not true yet. However, there's a very real conversation happening about this proposal, and lawmakers are under increasing pressure to act, especially as millions of Americans are struggling to keep up with prices on food, gas, and essentials due to ongoing inflation. The so-called Tariff Rebate Plan was introduced as a way to return excess revenue collected from import tariffs back to the American people, essentially giving you a refund for money the government already earned through those tariffs. It's not new spending, it's redistribution. And that's exactly why the proposal is gaining traction, especially among those who don't want to see more deficit spending. That's a big deal politically, because this idea could potentially unite both sides of the aisle, Democrats who want relief for low-income families, and Republicans who want to avoid printing more money. So the big question is, who would qualify? Well, according to the early outlines of the plan, these rebate checks would be targeted to those who are hit hardest by inflation, which includes seniors on Social Security retirement, SSDI, SSI, VA, and RRB benefits. Also included are low-income individuals and families, as well as those who have little or no taxable income. The logic here is simple. If tariffs have raised the cost of imported goods, those struggling most with price increases deserve to be compensated first. That's the idea behind calling it a rebate instead of another stimulus check. Now, let's talk about delivery dates, because that's the question everyone's asking. As of this week, no final delivery schedule has been set since the bill has not yet passed through Congress. However, based on how prior federal payments have worked, such as stimulus rounds, child tax credits, and cost of living adjustments, we can estimate what the timeline would look like if this proposal is approved. If Congress passes the tariff rebate check bill this fall and the President signs it into law within the next month or two, the IRS and Treasury could begin sending out payments within 6 to 8 weeks. That would mean the earliest possible delivery window could begin late this year, possibly between December and January. For those on direct deposit with Social Security, SSDI, or SSI, payments would automatically land in the same account where your regular benefits arrive. Those receiving paper checks or direct express cards could expect delivery within a few additional weeks, just like with the prior stimulus rounds. However, keep in mind that states may also play a role in distributing additional rebates. In the last few years, we've seen states like California, New York, Colorado, and Maine issue their own payments separately. This time, some governors have It already signaled they'd be ready to issue state-matched tariff rebates if the federal version goes through. So even if the federal check is delayed, your state might decide to step in sooner, which means watching both your federal and state updates is critical right now. Now, one thing I want to be very transparent about. The proposal is facing political debate. Some lawmakers argue that tariff rebates could add to inflation, while others say it's simply returning money that was already collected, so it wouldn't have the same inflationary impact as past stimulus rounds. The White House has not yet made an official endorsement, but several influential members of Congress have started discussing the idea publicly. For example, some senators have called for energy rebates or cost of living rebates, and this plan aligns closely with that. So the short version is this. While there's no delivery date yet, momentum is building. Especially as we move into an election year, politicians know that direct payments get attention. And in a struggling economy, promising checks can make a big difference at the ballot box. Just like before every major election, both sides start talking about relief programs, middle-class rebates, or tax credits. So it would not be shocking at all to see a final version of this plan surface closer to year's end. Now let's take a quick step back and look at the economic picture, because this will determine whether or not these checks actually happen. Over the past several months, the Federal Reserve has continued to raise interest rates in an effort to control inflation. While that's good news for long-term price stability, it's also pushing the economy closer to a slowdown. If the U.S. officially slips into recession, and several indicators suggest that could happen, that's when relief payments usually follow. Historically, every major recession in the last 25 years has produced direct payments to Americans. The 2001 downturn, the 2008 financial crisis, and the 2020 pandemic all triggered checks. There's no reason to believe this time would be different. So if the economy contracts further in the coming months, the likelihood of the $2,000 tariff rebate check being approved increases dramatically. Congress would have to respond, and direct payments are the fastest and most visible way to do that. So while inflation has made Washington hesitant to send more checks, a slowdown or recession would flip that equation instantly. Because at the end of the day, when the economy starts falling, saving the economy always becomes more important than controlling inflation. Now let's talk about eligibility specifics, because I know that's another big question. If the proposal passes as written, the tariff rebate would likely mirror the income thresholds used during the third stimulus round. That means individuals earning under $75,000 and couples earning under $150,000 would receive the full $2,000. Beyond those limits, the rebate would phase out gradually. The plan would also automatically include Social Security, SSDI, SSI, and VA beneficiaries, even if they have no earned income, because their benefits are already verified through federal records. So there would be no need to reapply or file a tax return unless your information has changed since your last payment. If you use Direct Express, your rebate would automatically load onto your card, just like your monthly benefit. For paper checks, you'd receive it through the mail. And yes, this includes low-income and no-income individuals who don't normally file taxes. The Treasury has learned from the mistakes of the first stimulus round and would automatically issue payments using existing SSA and SSI databases. So if you receive any type of federal benefit, you're already in the system. At this point, let's discuss state-level payments, because while the federal rebate hasn't been finalized, around 18 to 20 states are actively exploring their own relief programs tied to tariff or energy rebates. For instance, California has already hinted at a gas and goods refund, while states like Colorado, Illinois, and Maine are reviewing their budget surpluses for direct aid distribution before year-end. Some states are even considering pairing their checks with federal rebates if Washington approves it. That means your total payout could be higher depending on where you live. If you're unsure whether your state is offering a rebate, check your state's Department of Revenue or Treasury website. They're usually the first to announce it. And if your state requires you to file a simple state return to qualify, even if you have low or no income, it might be worth filing just to make sure you don't miss out. Remember, in 2022, millions of seniors missed state-level rebates because they didn't file, even though they were eligible. So the key takeaway: as of today, there is no official delivery date for the federal $2,000 tariff rebate check. But multiple signals suggest it's moving in that direction. Lawmakers want a politically safe way to support Americans without worsening inflation, and a tariff rebate funded by existing revenue fits that perfectly. Combine that with potential economic slowdown data, and the odds of direct payments go way up. The window we're watching right now is the final quarter of this year through early next year. That's when decisions will be made, and if approved, delivery could start soon after. Until then, the best thing you can do is stay informed and ready. Make sure your banking information and mailing address are updated with the Social Security Administration or the IRS. Keep an eye on your direct express or bank deposit notifications, and sign up for updates from official government websites, not random posts or unofficial pages claiming checks are already out.